chronologically. So I showed him mine. It's a book called Reading God's Story. It's a book, it's set up, it's the Bible, but it's set up in a way that, like it's a play. It give you scenes, it give you main characters, it sets up the whole plot for you. So when you're reading God's story, it's not like you're just reading the Bible, you're reading an actual story. It tells you what takes place and how things goes on, so it makes it more interesting for you to read. And so I told her, I said, well, I made a bet with her. I said, if you make an A on your test, we had a test coming. I said, if you make an A on your test, I'll buy you this book. She said, okay. So that was Friday. So the accident and everything happened on Friday. So she came to class on Monday crying. She came to my first period. She said, Mr. Meeks, I don't understand. Lee did all he could to help me understand God, to help me get closer to God, but now he's in this accident. We don't know if he's going to make it. We already know one pass. We don't know if he's going to make it. And she said, I don't understand why God does things like that. And I started sharing some things with her. And she said, Mr. Meeks, another thing I don't understand is 2 weeks before the accident, Lee led Omar to Christ. And I was like, wow. 2 weeks before the crash, 2 weeks before the accident, Lee, the other guy that's in the hospital now, led Omar to Christ. And I found joy in that, knowing that Lee is a soldier on the battlefield. He's going out winning souls. He's going out doing what he has. But sometimes God would take us through some things to make us stronger. And so I was up last night and I was just reading something and God kind of put this on my heart. So I'm gonna read some of it. It's coming from. Let me see if I can find it. Matthew chapter 5. Starting at verse 21, just to give you a little bit of background. Jesus was over healing people, healing the blind, healing the sick. And when Jesus crossed over to the other side, he stepped on the line, stepped over on the land, and there was this guy that was living in the graveyard. He was among the tombs, and chains couldn't bind him. And so once Jesus set foot on the ground, he ran to Jesus and said, Master, what are you going to do with me? Why are you coming over here bothering me? Because Satan is territorial. He don't want God in his territory. So anytime God is in his territory, he wants to get God out. So he's trying, like, God, why are you here? Why are you bothering me? I'm not here by myself. Why are you bothering me? Why are you bothering me? And he said, well, then the demons, he spoke to the demons. He said, what's your name? He said, I'm Legions, for we are many. There are many demons. And so he said, he said he cast out the demons and sent them into the pig. The pigs jumped off the cliff. And so as he continued to go on, he was followed by a crowd. And this is where this takes place. It said when Jesus crossed over again by the boat to the other side, a large crowd gathered around him while he was by the sea. One of the synagogue leaders named Jarvis came and saw Jesus and fell at his feet and kept begging him, my little daughter is at death's door. Come lay your hands on her so she can live and be well. Jesus went with him, and a large crowd followed, pressing against him. A woman suffering from bleeding for 12 years had endured much under doctors. She spent everything she had and was not healed. On the contrary, she became worse. So it was this lady sitting, waiting for Jesus to come, and Jesus is passing. People's all around him, but she was saying, I got to see Jesus. I got to get to Jesus. How can I got to get to him by some way. And so, having heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his robe. And she said, if I can just touch his robe, that's faith. If I can touch his robe, I will be made well. Instantly, flow of her blood ceased, and she sensed her body was cured from her affliction. At once, Jesus realized himself, power had gone from him, and he turned around in the crowd and said, who touched my robe? When his disciples said to him, you see crowd pressing against you, and you say, who touched me? So he looked around to see who had done this, and a woman knew what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling, fell down before him, and told the whole truth. Daughter, he said to her, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be free from your afflictions. And while he was speaking, people from the synagogue leader's house came and said, your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher anymore? So Jarvis came to Jesus. I need you to come heal my daughter. As Jesus is going with Jarvis, A lady touches Jesus, stops the whole process. So sometimes when Jesus is working, things happen in our life, we're like, God, I've been praying. Where are you? What's going on? What's going on? Why aren't you answering my prayers? I'm doing everything that you tell me to do. I'm following you. I'm following you. What's going on? So sometimes when Jesus was going through this, he had to take care of some things that was going on. So I can imagine Jerry's mind. He's like, man, I told this man my daughter dying. And he'll be trying to heal this lady with the issue of blood. Why is my daughter important? Right? Why are you worried about this lady with blood and my daughter's about to die? She's been like this for 12 years. She can handle herself for 12 years. So sometimes when we're going through things and it seems like God is taking his time, God is just setting us up for faith. If God would have went right away and healed his daughter, there wouldn't have been a testimony for those who was following Jesus then to see that, okay, he can heal her too. So sometimes when we're going through things, God has to have a way. We have to give God time and give God space that he can build faith in other people. And so when the synagogue leaders came and said, your daughter's already dead, I can imagine them saying, man, Jesus ain't gonna do this for you, man. Your daughter already dead, so don't even bother him anymore. But what did Jesus say? Have faith. Have faith in me. And he went to the house, everybody out there crying and wailing. God said, what y'all crying about? She's not dead, she's just asleep. And you have to understand, Omar may be dead physically, but you have to understand those 2 weeks before the crash, he gave his life to Christ. So spiritually, he's alive, he's well, and he's doing well. And so I just want to encourage y'all, sometimes when it seems like God is not moving as fast as you want to, keep the faith, keep pushing. Like I heard my pastor say one time, push, pray until something happens. You have to keep pushing. We can't just stop. We have to keep pushing. We have to push. We have to push. Life isn't easy. There are going to be difficult times that you're going to come up against. But you got to be able to push, pray until something happens. Stay before God. Do what you know is right. Be a witness. Don't let Omar's testimony and vision go to waste. Reach out to somebody. Let somebody know that God is real, and he's able to do all things above and beyond what we think. We limit God. We limit God in certain situations to do certain things. But God is way bigger than anything that we can imagine. He's way more capable of doing way more things than what we think he can do. He's big. He's omnipotent. He's everywhere. He does everything. He sees everything. He can do anything he wants. But it's up to you. You got to make that decision whether you want to allow him to do that. I just hope that these words inspire y'all to keep trusting.